Yeah, I think Moose is like 105, 108 pounds.
That's a big boy.
He is all a good boy. 100, I think Moose is like 105, 108 pounds.
It's a big boy.
All right, all right, all right. That's loaded. That's loaded. This is loaded. That's loaded. And boom. Now I get to hear some wins. What are your wins? What are something to celebrate? Something you're proud of?
I had a good day yesterday, and I'm excited. I get to have another tournament tomorrow. The last tournament I had, I came in first, so we're looking for something good this day. But yesterday, one of my people from pickleball called me on my phone. My daughter had to use my phone, but he said, "Do you sell houses only in Tucson?" I said, "No, I'm out here in Sierra Vista." And he wants me, he's looking at me to be one of the people he's interviewing. So I know him personally from pickleball. So that's my win.
Tell him you'll save him some time. He doesn't have to interview the others. He's already found the best.
Yeah, yeah. I gave him my brochure and about to put it in his mailbox today. So yeah. I'll tell him that. Yeah.
What else?
I got a referral for a client in Pennsylvania.
There you go.
If you know anybody, send it over.
Not a lot of agents in Pennsylvania.
Me either, but I'll find him one.
I
That's a,
need a referral for someone in Portugal or Spain, and I have to figure out how to navigate that.
That's a bigger stretch than Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I know Donna's maybe a lead.
Donna might know someone in Spain.
Yeah, I reached out to her, but
Stephanie, I can help you with that.
oh, really?
Go.
Yeah, I'm
Awesome.
part of KW Latinos Entrepreneurs Group, and we have a bunch of agents in that area. I'll connect you with somebody.
I think this is the first time
Oh,
I've
thank you.
Babby not on video. She must like.
I'm getting ready for filming, but I'm on.
All right, other wins, celebration, something you're victorious. Come on now.
I survived my panel yesterday.
How's
It's thanks to I had a one-on-one earlier in the morning with my coach Seth, and he made me do a practice run through with him because I told him I'm not scared of speaking in front of people. It's more so speaking unscripted in front of people. So I'm glad we did it because I did freeze when he was asking me questions. So he gave me tips, and yeah, it made me stronger because of it. So 100% survival rate.
it's a great topic. How do you live life where you can speak unscripted?
I don't know because I have a hard time. I like to think and then speak, and I cannot do that on a panel. So that was my issue. So,
Why can't you?
Yeah, that's absolutely can.
I think I can't because I like to see. I want to make sure my answer is right.
If you don't know and you need more time, answer the question with a question.
Don't you go all day, every day, unscripted?
Yes. But
It's
in
not
front
it.
of people are staring at me. It's when all the eyes are on me. One-on-one, it's fine. But if there's like 30 people, it freaks me out.
Well, how do we live with that? How do we deal with that? How do we get from awkward to comfortable in conversations?
Practice. Yeah,
Can't you just live a life that's scripted? Can't you just be prepared for having conversations everywhere? Oh, now you know where I'm going with it. She's all, fuck, I got stuck. It was a trap.
Bear trap.
But here's the thing.
Books.
Here's the thing. How many times are you going to walk into an opportunity and be 100% prepared? We don't set traps for clients. We don't set them and go, okay, Everything is set. I'm ready for this guy to walk in with a blue shirt and black pants, and he's going to want to buy this house in this neighborhood. I'm ready for that conversation. I know everything about that house. I know everything about the process. Now I'm just waiting for Mr. Blue Shirt to show up. And what do you get? You get the lady in red. You weren't prepared for the lady in red. So how do you handle it?
You ask a lot of questions.
Yeah. I think one of the magical points in scripting, I know we hate the term scripting. This is scripts and role play. Scripting itself is just preparing yourself for having conversations. Are there magic words that you can weave together to get a certain result? No, because witchcraft doesn't exist. I know in some of the books that I read, and Joanne reads, or she will read once she gets her copy, and I have 2 of them. It doesn't exist. That's witchcraft. That's magic. Let me say certain words and then things wound together. Have you anyone ever watched Dune, the series, like the movie Dune, the big sand planet? And they have words. They can speak words that can kill people. And they have to practice these words, right? There's always going to be a need for preparation. So we prepare ourselves for having conversations, and that could be conversations that are very real estate focused, like 100% real estate, where you're having economic conversations and the impacts of them financially and the inverse yield and how it's going to affect the long-term financial stability of the real estate market. But those are few and far between. Most of the time, you're going to have conversations with people that you run into at a grocery store, you run into the coffee shop, you see them at the PX. You're going to run into them in a situation that's not scripted, that's not set up for a real estate conversation. So you just need to remember some key things. Like Stephanie said, ask some questions. The number one thing most people forget to do in an odd conversation like that, or an unscripted, unscheduled, random conversation, is ask for continued conversation. What do I mean by that? You ever ran into somebody, an old friend, somebody you've talked to and had a great conversation with, and then a couple of days later you were like, man, I should have gotten their phone number. And you try to look them up on social media, and there's like 900 Sean Smiths. You're like, man, I wish I'd have gotten the right social media. Here's where your preparation comes in. Every one of us does not need to be trained how to be a human. You're pretty natural at it. You're born to be human. And we all have varying degrees of ability to communicate. Mikey and Jason, Jason's not on the call right now, are the highest eyes I've ever met. Mikey can walk into a room of people that hate him and find 2 friends. He just talks to people, makes friends. Jason has the same ability to walk into a crowd of strangers and find a best friend by asking questions and talking to people. But I happen to know that Jason struggles greatly with getting contact information because he forgets to ask, because he's just in the moment, having a party, having a good time, enjoying the conversation, and then forgets to go, wait, why don't we further this conversation later? What's your phone number? What's your email? What's your social media? What's your at? Something. So you have a natural ability to already have a natural ability to communicate. Some of us are on the other side of that spectrum. Like, we can be in a room by ourselves and there's still too many people in that room. Anyone like that? Right? A little bit, right? Does that mean we can't be as successful in real estate? No, we just have different communication styles. I bet the people that are afraid to be in a room by themselves because there's too many people are better at following up, because every conversation sticks out. No matter where you're at in the scale, from I can talk to anybody to I don't want to talk to anybody, you can flex. For a certain period of time, you can flex. I can be more social. I can be less social. I can be more go with the flow. I could be less go with the flow. You're training yourself to become more elastic. And that's what scripting is it's understanding that there's language patterns. I don't need you to memorize a 40 line, monologue to go out there and preach from the pulpit. No, I need you to memorize the patterns. When somebody's saying, yeah, the kids are great, they're going off to college, and Dave and I just don't know what we're going to do with such a big house, you pick up on a real estate pearl. Right? How many times have you gotten business from a real estate pearl? Something that came out of nothing. More business will come to you when you're having conversations and being scripted and being prepared to have those conversations because you're listening to the cue. So, Joanne, it's not about having the right things to say. It's about hearing the right things.
I guess I got to shift it because I am able to do that in person, one-on-one, very well. I don't have a prospecting problem in getting the
No, what's the difference between one-on-one and 1-on-10?
More eyes? I don't.
How many people are you talking to at once?
I just one. I don't.
Yeah. Because right now there are 13 other people. You got you plus 13. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them don't have cameras on. So it's you versus 8.
Right. I guess I'm just staring at you right now and I'm just ignoring everybody else.
Exactly. We are having a conversation. You and I are having a conversation. Or then I look at Jess and Jess and I are having a conversation. And then Tim and I are having a conversation. But I'm not having a conversation with all of you. If I'm speaking to all of you, I'm no longer having a conversation. I'm having a projection, a presentation, a monologue. It's no longer a two-way communication. What's that, Mikey? Yep, the book, The Rebel.
What is it? The Rep. Okay.
He's unmuted.
That's where it's he refers to the two-way mirror of meaning, where when you look for meaning, you see everyone else, but when they look at you to give you meaning, they see themselves. So, it's essentially trying to find the meaning within yourself and not being too worried about what others are seeing you as.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things I struggle with when I go up in front of a group of people to talk to is there's like 2 people in the room I care about. The other 28 of you, I don't care about. But those 2 people shift. And guess who those 2 people are? The person I'm talking to now and the person I'm going to talk to in a minute. Because as I'm speaking, I talk to one person, then I change my focus and talk to another. I don't like public speaking. Man, I am awkward as shit. But I'm very practiced. I'm prepared at all times to have a conversation. Because I'm scripted. And it's not like, okay, it's 8 o'clock. I need to get my mind in place. I need to be scripted because every conversation from here until 5 p.m. needs to be about real estate. No. I was at Lowe's yesterday getting a blind for one of my rentals. And I happened to run into the guy that was a flooring manager when I worked there. And he's been there for like 25 years. And I was like, hey, Jason, how's life? How's things, man? And it just chummy conversation. Jason and I aren't friends. We're friendly. But it's not like he's going to call me up and say, hey, let's go kick back some brews and watch the game. But he comes up to me and goes, hey, are you still selling houses? Yeah. I'm looking to buy a triplex. I'm like, me too. But it just starts a conversation. And he goes into the questions. Why do you want to buy a triplex? What are you trying to buy? Where are you trying to be? Where are you at now? It was conversations that I wasn't prepared for, but I was prepared for. Did I know Jason was thinking about buying a triplex? No. He works at Lowe's. He's been there for 25 years. That's all I know about him. And he's a really good tile guy. That's it. But it wasn't until he said something that was a real estate pearl that allowed me to ask more questions to gain more clarity. And even if there was 9 Jasons in that conversation, I could have understood one at a time, because you can't talk to a group at once. You talk to one person at a time, even though it's a group setting. So that's what scripting is. Scripting is giving you the ability to have more successful, unscheduled conversations. So someone asked me right now, Dan, do you want to be on a panel in front of 900 people? Yep. Because I know I'm going to talk to one person at a time. I'm going to look in that crowd. I'm going to look for that one person. And it's whoever's doing this the most. Why do you think I'm looking for that person?
Reassurance. It's a connection, right?
Because I know that they're listening to the fact that they're understanding. They're like, yeah, 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 oh yeah. Right? I was Tuesday. We had a class. Who was in the Tuesday class here where we talked about the failure, or the Tuesday meeting?
I was.
So Lydia was there. Lydia, how much time do you think it took me to prepare for that 15-minute lesson?
Oh, I mean, it was really good, but I think you're pretty good at what you do. So maybe half an hour to an hour.
Jake told me I was doing it as I was walking into the meeting.
Well, good job with the F words.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's the thing, is it's in the moments like that, like, hey, Dan, I didn't prepare anything and I need you. I need you to do this. And for me, it's okay. Let's go back to training. Let's go back to basics. Yeah, I was pulling every F word I possibly could out of my hat. So I didn't know I was gonna do the F words thing until Donna was there. But when it comes down to it, is you can be conditioned to be spontaneity, right? Spontaneous action comes from practiced action. So being scripted, live a life that's scripted. Every conversation matters. So listen for cues, listen for pearls, listen for things that allow you to continue the conversation towards real estate, or away from real estate, or involve real estate, or about you and them and their family and their friends and their coworkers and loved ones and the things that matter in their life, so that you can build a better bridge between you and relationships. Because without that, your knowledge, all the scripts in the world, all the memorization of the word tracks and these magical whisperings of witches won't mean wibbly. Because they don't want to listen.
I have a wondering too, about Joanne, because Joanne's been like, doing super well, very successful. She's gotten great deals. So what I'm wondering is, are you nervous about the content, or are you nervous about just like personally being in front of a crowd? Like, is it a personality, like a shyness there, or is it not knowing the information?
Not knowing the information.
Okay.
I was just scarred during high school. One of those nightmare scenes, like during speech class. One of those 1-minute impromptu things when I couldn't answer a question, and the speech teacher, if you didn't know, she'd just make you stand there for a whole minute. And I stood there for a whole minute and I didn't answer because I didn't. And everybody just stared at me.
You shut down.
Shut down.
Can I give you a hint?
Huh?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So I'm getting over that. Even
if someone asks me a question and I don't know the answer, what do I do?
Shut down. No.
Think about it.
Tell them you'll find out and get back to them later.
I'll think about it. You know what? If I'm on a panel and someone gives me a stinger, wow, that was a fucking wild question. I wasn't prepared for that. I'm gonna tell them that. Wow, that's a wild question. I wasn't prepared for that. Let me think about that for a minute. You know what? That's going to take a little bit more than a couple moments to think about. Let's get back to me tomorrow on that. Are you expected to know everything? Does it feel good when you do? Yeah. If you've got the information, give the information. If you give bad information, apologize and correct it. I was misinformed. I apologize.
There's a
I have
saying
since
somewhere.
learned better. Go ahead, Jim.
I was gonna say there's a saying somewhere, I don't know where it is, but it says the teacher's the best student. You know, the people that are seeking the knowledge learn the most.
Yeah. That's why we talked about this, 4 weeks ago, is your self-preparation. How much time do you spend self-educating? Are you reading books? Are you listening to podcasts? Are you reading articles that are around the world that you live in? If you live in an absolute vacuum of information, how successful are you going to be at guiding people through anything? Well, you spend 30 minutes with me every morning. And I'd like to think that you get at least 22 minutes of value out of it. We got to have some breaks for shenanigans. But even if you got 15 minutes worth of goodness out of it and you go and you turn that 15 minutes into 45 minutes of goodness for others, we're amplifying our abilities. But if you're driving from Sierra Vista to Tucson and doing it twice a month, then listen to a book on real estate or a book on economics or a book on negotiating or a book on psychology or a book on communication. Now you've just made yourself infinitely more successful. I have 73 books on this bookshelf now. And how many of them do you think I've read?
73.
73 of them.
Right.
I am not a hoarder of knowledge for the fact that, oh yeah, I got all the knowledge in this big ugly brain of mine. No. I'm going to go learn it so that I can be a bigger river of value. If you ever heard Kristen say, be a river, not a reservoir. She got it from John Maxwell. Be a river, not a reservoir. What does that mean? What do reservoirs do?
Hold.
They hold, they
water.
contain, they hoard. What do rivers do?
Flow.
Flow. Reservoirs can only affect the people around the reservoir. Rivers can affect everybody downstream.
And John Maxwell said it too. I mean, he said that there's a lot of people that say they want to be able to talk the way he talks and present the way he presents, and that he's so good at it. And he's like, well, yeah, I've done it 13,000 times. I've practiced 13,000 times. If you want to be as good as I am, you have to put in the practice.
He was talking about how people tell him, John, I want to do what you do. I want to talk to people. I want to teach. I want to grow. I want to educate. I want to communicate at a high level. And I want to be like you. I want to do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And John said, well, would you like to do what I did? And here's the thing. When he said that, in my heart, it screamed, yes. I would love to do what you've done. Walk in those exact footsteps, the same struggle, the same strife, to learn to become a better person. But there's the underlying here is he didn't get good overnight. He didn't become one of the best communicators known in the writing world overnight. It's a 47-year journey. So, Joanne, how long have you been doing this?
3 years.
How many?
Almost 3 years.
Almost. And how many times have you talked in front of a large group of people?
Not very many.
Bullshit. You do it every morning.
Oh, a year, right?
Right? You only got 46 more to go. Give yourself some grace. I'm, you know what, Dan? I'm not nearly as good as you are on stage. Of course you're not. Two reasons. One, you're not me, and two, you haven't done what I've done. You know what? I'm not nearly as good at connecting with people as Mikey is. I'm not. Mikey's in the pros. I'm still trying to get out of JV. But it's a natural ability that helps him. And he's taken that natural ability and he's honed it to be sharper, to be better, to be more purposeful.
You find the natural ability only takes you so far, and that's where the scripting comes into play.
Yeah, that's that honing. That's that taking what you already have and making it a little bit better. I know that I'm a very impactful speaker. I've been born this way. But I can't just get up there and ramble on anything. I got to have some reason for it. I got to have some purpose behind it. So there's my natural ability that has to be honed. If your natural ability doesn't allow you to have high level conversations easily, but you're really good at details, I mean, really good at details, really good at remembering things, then you need to hone the element that allows you to speak to more people, that allows you to have more conversations. My wife hates people. She, for a nurse, I mean, it's funny. She does. She doesn't like people. She doesn't like crowds. For her to be at Better Up was like, I have to promise her the world. And she hated, like, she didn't like all the people because everyone's coming up and saying hi to me and introducing themselves to her. And she's like, I hate this. I want to crawl in my corner. I want to be alone. Leave me alone. Don't talk to me. But the details that she picked up in the conversations, the subtext, the understanding that she took away from it far exceeded mine. Because that's her superpower. All she has to do is hone her ability to be more social. She has to put her dragon away and be like, it's okay. Don't eat anybody. We're just going to talk to him for 30 minutes, then we're going to go home and we're going to spend the next 23 hours depressing, right? So decompressing. I had 1 hour of sociability. I need 20 hours to recoup. I'm okay with that. But we know that about her. So if you align yourself on either side of the spectrum or anywhere in between, you have a natural ability. I want you to lean into that natural ability because that's just going to be your key to unlock the door. And then realize there may be some pieces, some parts that need to be sharpened, honed, retooled, refocused, or just re-implemented that will allow you to have more of these scripted conversations so that you sound more like you know what you're doing. Kristen Cole is one of the best speakers I've known in the business space because I've been around her a long time. I've learned a ton from her. She's massively successful in business. But on stage at the Better Up, she was emotional, super emotional. And she said 127 times in 5 minutes. So even the best around us get shooken, taken off their space when they're not prepared. And emotions can definitely knock you right off your pedestal. So if you go in with a high level of emotion, high emotional volatility, you're not going to have a very good conversation. So that's one thing we all can hone is just ground ourselves, center ourselves, understand it's just a conversation. It's not life or death. It might be if you're negotiating with a hostage, just saying. But I hope none of you have to get to that point because we don't have any emergencies in real estate. Just impatient people. Did you learn something today?
Yes.
You're going to do better. So take an inventory today. What's the one thing I could hone, work out, iron, sharpen, whatever, that will make it better for me to have conversations? Is it the words I use? Is it the ability to turn, steer, identify, direct, redirect conversations, or control conversations? Is it the details? Do I struggle with remembering things? Right? Anyone else just forget names as soon as you hear them? Right? So there's
Oh my
there's
God, yes.
you can do. It's you can say it multiple times and remember the name. I will forget what you said 3 seconds after you introduced your name because I'm repeating your name so many times in my head. I'm not even hearing what else you're saying. But remember, there's some things that you can work on. So take some time today to look at the inventory and let's find some things that you can self-study that will make you better so that you don't feel like you're unscripted.
If you do forget their name and you feel bad about it,
Introduce them to someone else.
when you're walking away, ask them to spell it for you. Act like you're writing it down.
Oh, that's Jonsmith. Oh, yeah, okay. I want to know if it was the Scandinavian spelling of John Smith. Smyth. No,
Dan. Dan. Oh, thanks, Dan.
no, I get David a lot. What was your name, David? Dan. Less letters.
My wife is Stephanie. She gets Jennifer all the time.
Yeah. You know what corrects them all? They call me Big Dan. And then almost everybody says Big Dan and then chuckles. You want to know something? Do they forget it? No. Just saying. If you want to be Big Jess, medium Joanne, audacious Audra, whatever. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of my mornings. I'm excited for your development. Let's work on that. I'd love to hear what you guys come up with tomorrow. So someone share with us what you thought about and the resource that you found to self-educate. Sound good?